be very different. They can be driven by manufacturing, automotive, they can be driven by coal, they can be driven by steel, they can be driven by plastics, etc. So although we're the same, we're one system, we have very unique regional differences amongst the group. The tasks that we completed, again, we met for 3 days and we've worked on go-to and email and occasionally in person, because Susan is at one end of the state and I'm 7 hours south of her, so go-to is a great tool. Situation analysis, the future state, target audiences, marketing messages, marketing toolkit, and marketing budget. We prepared and came up with a marketing toolkit for each region to take to events, be it K through 12, be it a coal mine shut down in transition. We have all those opportunities, probably not dissimilar to you and your states. A program message marketing and print materials that we found can be customized with our logo, but yet the message could be very unique by region, by program. Digital and television ads, and again, we don't have any money. We're going to ask for money again now that we have a plan, so wish us luck. Promote uniqueness, stackable credentials, national certs, state-of-the-art equipment and labs, again, no different than many of your schools, I'm sure. Applied technical training, internships and apprenticeships. We're number 2 in the nation in apprenticeships behind California. And then we constantly work to make sure we're very well aligned with business and industry. Our marketing efforts will focus heavily on student recruitment and retention, again, probably primary at your schools. Relationships and partnerships with communities, businesses, and apprenticeship programs, and strategic communication efforts will focus on reaching target audience with, again, regional program-specific messages. In a nutshell, probably not unlike your state, we're facing an extreme shortage of skilled workers. Percentage of manufacturing employees age 45 to 64 is almost 53%. We lead the nation in the percent of folks employed in advanced manufacturing. The 2025 DWD suggests that we'll be almost 700,000 skilled workers short to maintain and increase advanced manufacturing. How does the Ivy Tech's skill gap brand, Ivy Tech, help bridge the skills gap? I think we all understand that it's about your brand, and we have focused very much on that. Ways for us to find some help in marketing, borrowing dollars from some of our partners. I'm sure many of you know who NIMS and Ocean, AWS, et cetera, are. We hope to do some co-branding with both the building trades and some of these folks mentioned here, maybe Alcoa, maybe Berry Plastics, Toyota, located in southern in Indiana. We're going to have more aggressive conversations about co-branding so that we can get the message out, because every large manufacturer in my region is short skilled persons. Marketing tools, we're getting very specific. See just one example there, our Advanced Automation Robotics program. It looks consistent. Our students can go anywhere online or drive from one end to the other, and they will always recognize who Ivy Tech is. That being said, we need to be very regionally specific in our marketing. The needs in Gary, Indiana can be very different than in the past. Another example, and I didn't bring enough, I apologize. One of my faculty created little old playing cards with our real AART students, robotics students, and the projected wage and the number of openings. So if you have a little card on your table, one of my faculty members created that for you. Very affordable and interesting. There's an example of one. She is our student, and She's projected to make over $70,000 when she graduates in our program. We're very focused on millennials, as you all probably are, and so we try to get a youthful theme to many of the things that we do. We came up with a suggested budget, and again with our recruiting package, our bag, so to speak, flyers that look and feel like Ivy Tech statewide, but again can be very regionally customized. Very specific newsletters into high school and our career and tech centers. Giveaway, everybody loves little toys and trinkets, so that's always popular. And then professional videos for each program. We've projected a cost of, we have $150,000, so if we add $2 somewhere to everything that we do, we projected we needed $300,000 to do a statewide campaign. Here, like everyone in here, how the heck are you going to pay for your good ideas? Here are a couple things that have come to mind that we are going to pursue. As I mentioned, if we found $2 more for every 150,000 of our students, we'd have enough to cover. So that's one thing we're going to recommend. We do $26 million a year in dual credit at no cost. Maybe we ought to look at charging a tiny fee for our dual credit so that we can get our message out more effectively and aggressively in regards to attracting the millennials after graduation and the non-traditional. Grant opportunities, we're all here today because of a grant, so obviously that may be one way for us to find, and yourselves, additional funding. And again, ask companies to co-brand with you. We are not aggressive enough in that idea. We should be more like our foundation folks than just a quiet division dean that can't ask for money and for marketing expertise. Leadership training's given us all time to reflect, define who we are. We identified our strengths, how to promote those strengths aggressively and honestly and ethically in print. Just an honest portrayal of who we are and maybe the outcomes about the salary ranges. Who is our target audience? Who are our partners? And where do we go from here? We know that we must move forward with the plan developed during this training period. We do not have a choice. We cannot sit still. We will go backwards. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. Jim Stokes, Ivy Tech Richmond. We're going to talk about faculty and staff recruiting and retaining. To grow the division and positively affect completion rates, we have to attract and retain faculty. It's inherent upon us that we do our job there. It's inherent that we work to put the best folks we can in front of us for industry. In order for the division to grow, there's a great need for the development of faculty that meets the credentialing experience necessary to match those skills. We're dipping stronger and stronger in the apprenticeship side. It's critical that we put the best trained faculty that we can in front of these folks. It's also very important that we get HR and marketing backing to do this. That hasn't always been the case. It's critical now. And then once we've got them employed, we've got to retain them. We looked at several different factors. These are the 5 that we put together. Faculty loading based on contact hours instead of credit hours. We do a lot of 5-hour classes. We do a lot of 3-hour classes. We need to put those in line together. We can't expect folks to do the same thing as some of the folks that are putting twice as many hours in. Credentialing. Everything we do is required. Everything ties into a credential now. It's critical that we put the training together to put the best folks in front of them that we can. We've got to complete timely training in the summers. We've been doing that strongly the last 3 or 4 years. It's inherent that we keep doing that. Human resources and marketing support, they've got to help us out from the start. As soon as we start looking for those folks, they've got to be with the program. And then once we get them hired, we've got to get them in the classroom more than a week or two before classes start. In-house recruitment, I've just hired in the last year 2 new full-time faculty. Took 2 years to get those folks. I think we all know what a problem that is to do that these days. It's critical that we get all the support that we can to help find these folks, get them in, and make them want to stay when we get them there. Salaries, major barrier to the success of what we're doing. We're going to talk about this here in just a second. We don't teach for the money, unfortunately. We can no longer recruit without it. We're losing a lot of good folks out there because we can't pay them enough to get them in. You've got a lot of 25 and 30-year-olds that, they've just started a family, and we're going to start them for half the pay that they can go out in industry and make. And conversely to that, on the adjunct side, you can stay another hour at work and make what I'm going to pay you to come and spend all night long with me. You've got to really enjoy what you're doing to do that. You can't expect a 25-year-old with 2 kids and a wife that has a marginal job in a lot of cases to be able to come to work for us. Student average starting salaries, this is the latest information we have, $77,000. We don't come anywhere near that. We're 55-60% of that starting out. Adjuncts, you're in the same boat, about 50%. We just can't, I've lost 10, 12 adjuncts in the last 2 years, but we just can't keep them for that kind of money. The limit that we've got, you can't expect us to pay what you're going to pay folks to go out and work in industry, but we've got to come closer than we are. We just have to. Suggested salary range, we've come up with a figure somewhere in the $49,000 to $80,000 range. These folks can go out today and make more than that. I've got 18-year-old apprentices that are making $25 an hour. We have to do better than what we're doing. Thank you.
One of the other areas that we talked about in regards to faculty actually deals personally, which is the dean's position. The dean in the Ivy Tech system has taken on quite a bit of responsibility over the last few years. Some of those things deals with dealing with not only the interior or the internal workings of administration, dealing with student issues, faculty issues, equipment, those types of things, but also external. It makes it very difficult for one person to be on both the internal function of being a dean and also being out and meeting with the industries and producing partnerships, etc. So with that said, basically, as I'm pointing out here, as a dean, we deal with meetings and with industry. We are now required to attend more state-level meetings, become more visible to the local career centers and high schools, and maintain regular functions as a division chair. So our idea was to actually change and add an additional position. In Ivy Tech right now, we do not have an assistant dean position. We only have a dean position. So our thought was to bring about an assistant dean position in those regions where appropriate. And the basic responsibilities of this assistant dean would be to work with the division dean, with the vice chancellors of academic affairs, which is immediately above me in supervision. Also deal with our presidents and also instill the college mission, strategic planning, and college development initiatives. Also to proactively link with businesses and industry in regards to current and future college curricula. In other words, basically helping we deans spread out a little bit more because we have a lot more ground to cover. Also, this dean, assistant dean would also work directly underneath us as our assistant to help us out with all the other responsibilities of the dean, be able to spread our time out a little bit more so that we're a little bit more efficient as far as leading this division. Also, they would help us in recommending instructional general policies, conduct meetings, facilitate planning, and so on. So basically be our right-hand person to help us lead this division. Responsibilities of this assistant dean would maintain current knowledge of trends and innovations, participate in scholarly activities, promote excellence in learning-centered teaching, and promote faculty engagement, link the college's strategic plan with division strategies, and assist and assure division's compliance and applicable policies, accreditation standards, and legal requirements. As you all know, that our education is not just teaching anymore, but we have to prepare these people to be accredited and to get business recognized credentials. And to be able to keep that maintained, to keep in compliance with those agencies, we need additional assistance to do that.
Good afternoon, Daryl Kesler, Dean at Fort Wayne. The other category we looked at was enrollment resource and staffing management. And the first aspect of this that I really want to talk about today is recruitment and retention. Probably two buzzwords that you all talk about all the time. Recruitment is incredibly important to what we do. Without students, we can't teach. We have to get students in the door. One of our goals is no longer to be the best kept secret in the state of Indiana, which is often the case, and I'm sure, I hear laughing, you would agree that that's often the case in many other states as well. One of the nice things about the NSF grant is we finally got together and talked about ideas that we each do to find better ways to do these kinds of things like recruiting. We had 3 programs this fall in Fort Wayne where we had high school students, over 350 high school students in our building. 91% of those students left with a very positive attitude towards Ivy Tech and technology. 87% left with the idea that, gee, this could be something that I will do. Get them in the door. Identify who we are, where we are, what we do. We need to also work with secondary, dual credit, post-secondary linkages. And I like to percolate these ideas up from my faculty. They bring up some of the best ideas. And when they bring up those ideas are empowering to them, and they'll move those ideas forward. And so we're trying new ways to get the faculty out. This goes back to the assistant dean that Steve just talked about. We need more time to actually implement these ideas. Enrollment management, facilitate course scheduling, student enrollment, block unification. And block part here is very important. We've instituted with some very good leadership block programming. There's been some very good research studies done on this. We're doing our own research on this, and it's clearly effectively working. Over 80% of our students that are in the block system, we retain to graduation for an associate's degree. So these are ways that we're finding, that we're sharing among ourselves, that we can actually improve then the ability of recruitment and retention. Foster career development, promote career services, and alumni activities, something that's rarely done. And I think we need to really work on this, and we're sharing ideas to move that forward as well. Resource management. Money, money, money. Always a difficult issue. And we are not a research institution. However, we've talked about research dollars here this morning through NSF. We have faculty that have NSF research grants, and although we are not equipped to do heavy-duty research, we can do research, and one of the most beautiful parts of the research programs that we have implemented is that the students get engaged in the idea in the classroom, and they learn incredible skills from being engaged in that opportunity. These students will come in early in the morning. I'm in the office by 7. I have students knocking at my door asking if they can get in the lab to start working, and they're there till late at night. It's very powerful. Coach and assist in new employee selection, facilitate onboarding new faculty. When I came on board, I've been there a year and a half, a little over a year and a half. I had very little facilitation in that, and this is one thing I'm very actively involved in, is getting my faculty on board, understanding the system, and move the system forward. Facilitate course scheduling, that's the same one, I believe, isn't it? So here we go. Enrollment priority, manage budgets, coach, facilitate new faculty. What am I doing wrong here? Here we go.
All right, Aaron Baute, Lafayette. And so once we get them in the door, we're trying to get them, retain them, and then complete them through and get a degree and jobs. So our Commission for Higher Ed has put some accountability on us, trying to get us to have enrollment in our programs. And we talked about the marketing, but also complete them through at a certain percentage. And I think some of my other colleagues will talk more about those numbers later, but it's a huge focus. So as we look at advising, our model was faculty advisors. We had what I would call a professional advisor, that they're not program specific, that would take them for the first 15 hours, and then after that transition them to the faculty members that would advise them the rest of the way through. We're switching more to a professional advising model where faculties become mentors for career and academic issues, where we have advisors that focus in on the registering and more directly getting them into the courses on schedule. With that, we have to work more intimately with the advisors. We have to train them. We have meetings with them. We have a group of advisors in a region, advisors or advisor specifically identified for our school. So instead of having a lot of people not know anything about some of our areas, because it's very complicated with certificates and TCs, as you all well know. So we need someone that really understands it in that office to be a subject matter expert. So we're working to do that and really transitioning that currently. We're also working with our research group, institutional research. They can run reports to help us pull those students that have self-advised. With technology, they can get on, as you know, to pull the curriculum, register without ever coming and seeing us. So we need to identify those students, pull them in as quick as possible so we can make sure that they understand what the program requires and that it's a good fit for them. And also that includes working with the financial aid groups and contacting students that have been laid out. Going on to the teaching and engagement, they talked about the block scheduling. With that also goes the labs and having lab assistants that can manage lab time and track that lab time, open lab time, to have it to where we don't have people manning labs that aren't being used, but also not have labs not open when students need them. So tracking that's very important, and managing that process with people having varied schedules. Student organizations, having faculty have time to work with bodies of organizations that provide the credentials and certifications and those things that help our students set them apart and get jobs, beyond just pairing them with industry, but make them whole.